People get so caught up in their emotional rhetoric that they lose all cognitive ability. And when that happens, they make very poor life decisions, ones that impact them forever. Welcome to the Mental Health Janitors, where we help you clean up the mess in your head. I'm your host, Sergeant Q, and with me, as always, Doc Jess.
Welcome. Hi. Thanks for being here.
What do you think of the new studio, Jess?
This is nice.
It's nice, right?
Yeah.
I'm starting to get it dialed in. I've got some really nice crystal water glasses.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
These are very expensive.
Tiffany and Co.
Tiffany and Company, yes. You know where I got these?
Goodwill.
Goodwill online.
Yeah. And you didn't get
No, my wife got it.
to become one. So
Yeah.
that's what my husband says.
Perfect.
When he says, "Yeah, I cold plunge," I said, "No, you don't." Yes, you do. And we're one. Okay.
Yes. So we got that. We've got new lighting. We've got a new backdrop.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got our flags.
Cinch trace. This is much different from when we very first started.
That was a great way to start.
The janitor closet was so fun. It really was. We're like, okay, we do this podcast. It's where I teach people, build, measure, learn. Like, don't spend a bunch of money on a studio and all this equipment. We literally shot it with some cell phones in a janitor closet.
$20 Amazon mic thing.
Yeah, it was so cheap. I think we were into it like maybe $150 just to kind of get it out, get it started, see if people liked it. And they did. We're over 200 episodes now. Been doing this a couple years.
Almost 4,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So if you haven't subscribed, would you please do that for us right now?
Yeah, that really helps us. Like, share, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Helps the algorithm, which then gets this to more people. And we're able to help them with their mental health journey. Now, you might want to warn them, right? Like, if you're going to come here and think you're going to get coddled, that's not going to happen.
No.
We're combat vets. We're not going to coddle you. What we're going to do is hold you accountable to the goals that you have. And one of those should be to increase your mental resilience. So a lot of the times, things we talk about here are very hard to hear. And so if it pricks you in your spirit or in your heart, it probably means that you need to change, that there's something in there that hasn't been healed, and you might need to think about that and address it.
Mm-hmm. And that takes me to kind of a theme that's been heavy on my heart lately in my counseling office, in my mentorship groups, at church, in my own life, is self-awareness.
Yes.
And self-reflection. And the massive inability in our society for people to be able to be self-aware.
Yeah, they want to focus everything outwardly. It's this person's fault. It's this people group's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the police department's fault. It's everybody else's fault. But you can't control everybody else. But what you can control is yourself. So what are the things that you can control? Pastor Moogie says it best. Control the controllables. And the only thing you can control is yourself. And you can't control the situation that happens. But what you can control, and what we teach here every single week, is how to control your response to what is happening around you. And that is called resilience.
And there's micro and macro ideas of self-awareness,
Sure.
right? And so I'm even talking about the little things like, for instance, a mom who is overly worshiping her child. Everything they do is amazing. I'm talking, it's hard to be around this person. One of those like, oh, I can't even hear you talk. It just grates on me because you just worship this little human being. Mm-hmm. And sure, love your kids. 100%. I love my kids. And I have to be self-aware to not worship them because it's easy to do. And then in the very next sentence, somebody comes into the conversation and talks about how great my kid did at helping out with something with the little kids. I'm like, yeah, I don't know where she gets it from. She loves kids. She's really good with kids. I hate kids. No. It's kind of a it's kind of a running joke. My dad was a children's pastor most of my life, so I'm really good with kids. I just don't love it. Autumn, my youngest, she loves it. And the person who is just, cringily worshiping their child, yeah, she's good, but, and I'm like, you talk about my kid. Now I have no self-awareness. No, but just like, you have no self-awareness of how you come across. Like, it's sad. But then it turns me in the other direction to be sometimes too critical of myself because I want to make sure I'm not like that in these areas. And I'm like, whoa, Jessica, okay, calm down.
Balance, right?
Balanced. But we are naturally blind to our own shortcomings and our faults on one side, and then we're super hypercritical about it in the next. So it's both and.
So what I see a lot of are those things that we don't like the most about ourselves are the things that we come after other people for.
That's it.
The most.
It is. It is.
And I love it because the scripture talks about this. It says, take the log out of your own eye before you take the speck out of your brother's eye. Meaning, the meaning of that is that worry about the stuff that you've got going on because it's probably a lot more impactful to your life than whatever your friend has going.
Yeah, it is so true. And I've learned that, right? So when something pricks in me that I don't like about somebody, I'm like, what part of me is...
That triggered you, right? Like, oh, there's a part of my brain that doesn't like that.
Yeah.
And so the word gets overused, triggered, but that's really what it is. Part of your brain gets triggered like, hey, wait, I don't like this in this person, but why? Because it's probably something inside of you that has an old wound or something that you don't like about yourself that is causing that visceral reaction inside.
Yes. Yeah. And it's more personal because it's something undercurrent or subconsciously that I don't like about myself. And that's the thing, subconsciously. So we have to bring it to the conscious.
Right.
We have to teach our children and teach each other how to be self-aware.
I agree. It's something that should be taught in grade school, high school, college, but they don't teach this at all. Nobody ever spoke to me about these things at all. And I started figuring this stuff out because I was like, I don't want to continue to live this way. There's got to be a better way. Let me figure this out. So I started to read about the brain and I started to study scripture. I was like, this Bible that I'm barely learning is saying the same thing that these medical doctors are telling me in research. It's the same stuff. And so what I ended up doing was combining the two, create a really cool program for veterans. And now what I've done is I created the Evolve program and I created these deck of cards. So here's the thing, Jess. If you guys are old school and you're members from the janitor closet, Jess bought me this as a joke. I think it was for Christmas or a birthday. She bought me a deck of cards. They were like random knowledge cards.
It's called random knowledge teasers. And it's supposed to be those weird random facts that nobody knows, right? And I'm like, Aaron's the guy who knows all those weird random facts. So I got it kind of, yes, as a joke.
And I think I got the first 4 or 5
in a row. Not on camera. We needed to get it on camera because it was so funny. The most random things that a human being could have knowledge of, one after the other, and we were dying. Everybody in the room was dying laughing. It was very funny.
Right. And then we said, we should make this part of the podcast. And so we did. If you look back to the early episodes, you'll see every week we would start with one of these cards. And it was super fun. Well, 6 months ago, I was praying and I was asking God, how do I create conversation starters around mental health? Help people have better conversations. What can I do? And I remembered those cards. And in the military, we play cards all the time. And cards are really part of American culture.
Yeah.
Back from the Wild West days.
Yeah.
Everybody had a deck of cards. You played poker. Everybody played cards. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make my own deck of cards. But on the deck of cards are mental health tips. So there's a concept and then the science behind it and then a scripture verse that goes with it. Now, here's a cool thing. How I built this deck, I always teach that there's 4 pillars of healing. There's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And there happen to be 4 suits in the deck: diamonds, clubs, hearts, and spades. So each one of those pillars, the clubs are all, or the, the diamonds. Yeah. So diamonds are all going to be physical.
Right.
Hearts are all going to be emotional.
Okay.
Clubs are going to be spiritual, right? So they each are. Yeah. And then each one of those, there happens to be 52 decks of cards, or 52 cards in a deck.
Yes.
And there's 52 weeks in a year.
That's awesome.
So there's one of these for every week. And when I wrote this out, I wrote it's not just this, but then I wrote a mini lesson. So each one of these has a little mini lesson. It takes about 15 minutes to go through. and you get 5 activities you can do to build resilience around that one concept. And so that's what I did. And just this year, I started, last Thursday was my first time doing it. I'm doing an online mental health class for free. Anybody can join. There's people who are into the Evolve group, who are going through, the teachings, the paid teachings, but they can join this free group. Anybody can join the free group. You guys, if you want, you can join the free group and get some education. I go through one of these cards every single week. So I'm going to share with you.
Okay, so walk me through this. So I meet you at the airport.
Yes. Okay, great.
And it's so nice to meet you, Aaron.
Yes.
What, I told you what I do for a living. What do you do for a living?
I help people take control of the mental health journey. Would you like your free mental health tip of the day? And then I let you choose a card. Pick a card, any card. It's not a magic trick.
Oh. Okay.
All right, go ahead and read it.
2 spades, spiritual. There's one place warriors speak truth without fear. Camp Hope. It's not about religion. It's about real connection. Vulnerability is the doorway to strength. Camp Hope, where the healing starts. That's fire. Social connection and shared vulnerability reduce suicide risk by over 60% from research from out of 2014. James 5:16 says, confess to one another and pray so you may be healed.
So that card, and then you get to keep that card.
Yeah.
So you get to keep the card, and then you scan the QR code on the back. It takes you to a place where you give me your email address, and then I send you that mini lesson, and you get that for free. And you get 5 activities to build mental resilience around that concept. And so the concept of Camp Hope is what I talk about with veterans, and now with civilians, is this idea of the 3 mental health camps. You have the denier camp, the victim mentality, and then you have the silent majority. And the majority of us live in that silent majority because we don't want people in the denier camp painting us as people in the victim mentality. So we suffer in silence. But the minute that we start talking about our mental health journey and sharing that with other people, it allows people in our friend group and our sphere of influence to feel comfortable talking about it as well. And that's when we step into Camp Hope. Yeah. Where we can share openly and honestly about our journey, and we can be the one who's lighting the path for the next person.
And right, just to be disclaimer, we're not talking about idolizing mental health here.
No.
And what I love about this is the accountability piece of taking ownership and responsibility of your own mental health growth and journey. And in a culture where we learn from mistakes, you can see it all over history. One generation didn't let kids grow up with any emotions. They say, shut up, suck it up, buttercup. And so we have this generation of men, especially, who have horrible relationship with their emotions. And all they know is peace or anger, so they think, because they were never taught how to process through emotions. So then the pendulum went the full other way. And we have this gentle parenting where a toddler or a 5-year-old can spit in your face. And the mom goes, oh, Johnny's having big feelings right now.
He's going to have some big feelings in about 3 seconds.
Literal feeling. Feeling.
Some stinging sensations.
So sure, spankings, physical, what do they call it? Corporal punishment. Studies and research show it is not the best for kids, but it's because they study corporal punishment as an overarching thing. So a kid who gets beat every day of his life is under that corporal punishment. And the very, 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 very small percentage of them who were spanked biblically in a healthy, I won't go there. We go to these pendulums, right? And we've got to learn from history and from these other pendulums how to find an equal balance. So we're in a space where, yes, we're able to talk about mental health more. Great. And let's not swing too much on the pendulum and make everything about mental health.
It's because the reason it swings is because the loudest are the people on the extreme ends. And they are the loudest, most unhinged groups. And they say that they represent everybody.
Yeah.
But they don't. But if you say anything against what they're saying, then they immediately attack you personally, dox you, say all kinds of terrible things. I get all kinds of terrible things said about me online. All the time. All the time. And it's from these unhinged people who have never taken accountability for their mental health. And here's the thing. Democrat, Republican, red, blue, right, left. I get it from both sides. Yeah. The extremes on both sides. I manage different Facebook groups. And so I will Somebody will say something super racist, and I'll send them a message like, hey man, I'm putting you in timeout. You can't say stuff like that. Oh, you're just ultra liberal and you don't like free speech. And I get all this stuff from message. Right? And 3 seconds later, I ban somebody else who's making very derogatory comments on the other side of the aisle, and I get the exact same from him. But you remember, these people are on the fringes.
Yeah.
They are living in an echo chamber, so they surround themselves with only people that think like them, and it reinforces their bad behavior. And then they attack moderates in the middle, which are the majority of us.
I'm curious, Aaron, what do you think are the consequences of living in those echo chambers?
So, number one, it exacerbates whatever mental health condition you're dealing with. And we're all dealing with some sort of mental health condition. But what it does is it makes it 10 times worse. It's more magnified. Because if you live in that echo chamber where you're only hearing the same point of view as you, no matter how fringe it is, it reinforces that. And you start to take on this victim mentality. And in your mind, what I'm seeing happen now is that they have to then become the hero who fights every battle. Not just whatever battle they're dealing with. Say it's racism, then it becomes sexism, then it becomes, transgenders in sports, then it becomes food inequality, then it becomes it just every single thing. They now have to become the hero or heroine of every situation. And I watch this happen because I'm part of these reality TV show groups now and these different business groups. I watch people on these fringe sides. They really start to get unhinged because they live in an echo chamber and they take on every single fight. So that's the number one thing right there, is whatever condition they're dealing with, they're struggling with, it makes that 10 times worse. And then the second thing, because that's spinning out of control, they have reduced cognitive functioning, which means they lose the capability to make rational decisions, and they forget the long-term impact of those decisions. It doesn't even come into their mind because now they're thinking strictly out of an emotional state. So the first thing is it exacerbates their mental health issue, whatever they're dealing with, which leads right into these poor decisions that they make that have long-term life consequences. Yeah. So those are the two things that I see happen, one right after the other. It's kind of like, you remember those metal balls, you had the clackers and it hit, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it reminds me of. These people in this echo chamber, they get so spun out, and then it hits another part of their life, and then they make a decision that has long-term consequences that they can't come back. Yeah. So that's what I see. What are your thoughts?
Oh, on the consequence of these extremists on both sides?
Yeah, we see it on both sides. Yeah. We're not picking sides. We see it on both sides.
Yeah. For the first thing that comes to my mind, right, is the cognitive distortions are a part of the cognitive behavior therapy wheel where everybody has cognitive distortions to a certain extent. And yes, these people on those extremes have more damaging cognitive distortions, right? So if we're thinking like catastrophizing means, I share this example a lot. Catastrophizing would look like this. When I was in my mental health post-traumatic growth journey, catastrophizing is very common for PTSD, which means we think about the worst case scenario possible, and that's where our mind goes for everything, right? And so if I'm on a road trip with my family and we stop because we get tired and we stay at some hotel on the side of the road, little sketch, right? My hairs are already up. My nervous system is a little elevated. I'm not going to use the T word. I'm not triggered, but I'm on a
high cortisol.
Cortisol is higher, and so I'm a little more jumpy, and I'm all these things, right? So I'm already operating at a 7 out of 10.
Your sympathetic nervous system is running. Is running your body.
Yes. And so I hear some sirens from the distance, and my mind goes, oh my gosh, there's somebody on the run, and they're going to break into my hotel room, and they're going to take me and my kids captive or hostage. And like, that's where my mind used to go.
So here's the thing. Like, you guys may think like, that's far-fetched. That's like some Hollywood stuff. This is exactly what happens in our brain. Like, as she's telling me that, I'm like, yes, I've had those exact same thoughts. Yeah. So I put a chair under the door, right? Yeah. I put bags in front of it.
Yeah. I block out this screen window. Yeah. Yeah. And then I am laying there trying to sleep. Like, when is this person going to break into here and ruin my life? And it's just because, right, we have the neuroplasticity in our brain. And when you when you have PTSD to the level of like per se a soldier being deployed for 365 days a year, his or her prefrontal cortex is constantly working instead of working and then taking a rest and then working and then taking a rest. And then like it's just constantly going and it rewires a lot of those things. So I literally had a rut in my brain that went to the worst case scenario every single time and I could not get out of it. And it's not something I could just tell yourself it's not going to happen. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. So over time, I had to do little micro. I like using micro disciplined practices every day to start building those muscles or those new neural pathways to start giving me other options to think about. And doing it once isn't going to make me feel better, but doing it every single day for 6 months, I look back and say, oh my goodness, my catastrophizing has gone down a little bit because I'm building new neural pathways in my brain. And so my mind goes to, yes, cognitive distortions are way out of whack. And yes, that emotional brain takes over and people can't, human beings, I'm saying myself included, when I was in that state, I could not see reason. I could not see truth.
Yes.
I could not do it. I couldn't do it, right? And I'm seeing more and more and more human beings in society lack the ability to think logically.
And it's because they put themselves in that position all the time.
Yes.
Specifically through social media.
Yeah.
So when you talk about catastrophizing, we see this. And so if this is you and you're feeling uncomfortable right now, good, because that means you need to work through some stuff. I see this happen where something will happen. Let's say, I'm a veteran and I watch a veteran being mistreated somehow by the TSA, for example. TSA mistreats this veteran, and automatically, if I'm in that mindset, I think, well, this happens to every veteran. This is going to happen to me because it happened to this one person in New Jersey out of millions of people. It happened to one person who happened to be a veteran. But in my mind, that happens to now every veteran. It's only a matter of time before it happens to me. This is a safety threat. I must do something about it. And I start to look for, now my brain thinks that. And so it starts to look for other things that are happening in the world that will support that
narrative.
And it creates catastrophizing.
Yeah.
And I watch this happen with a lot of different groups. One specifically would be that I see happen quite often is the LGBT, where you'll see somebody be mistreated in some way. And now it becomes this blanket statement of that happens to everybody all the time. It's only a matter of time before it happens to us. And they assume this victim mentality.
Yeah.
And now they have to have some self-righteous fight against this grave injustice that happened to one person. And I used to be this person. I used to be like this when it came to veteran issues, when it came to Second Amendment issues, when it came to any of those issues that I thought even touched any of my personal space. Mm-hmm. I would have to fight against every one of these things. And it became exhausting. So when I'm talking about this, I'm not saying like, oh, people are dealing with this, they need to work on it. It's like, I was dealing with this.
Yeah.
I had to work on this.
And I still do.
It reduced when I learned how to do this, I started reducing my cortisol, reducing my adrenaline, reducing my reactivity.
Yes.
And I learned that there are two different ways that you can handle something. You can be reactive or you can take action. Two totally different things. So here's how this works. This is I'm literally writing this theory right now. So this will be interesting to hear your take on it. When something happens in our environment, it happens outside of us externally, in our environment, something happens. Mm-hmm. Now, when that happens, we witness something happens, we immediately have a thought. What do we think about it? There's a thought that happens in our brain. And then we feel something. Mm-hmm. There's a feeling that happens, which then gets categorized as an emotion. Mm-hmm. And to be reactive means that you now act out of that emotion.
Yes.
And you would typically have a negative behavior that is the outcome. So two things. Something happens, all that stuff happens in your brain, and then you are reactive and you do or say something that's terrible that comes out of being reactive. acting out of that trauma. And that's what I used to do all the time in almost every scenario. But I've learned that there's a pause button. It's called the ACC, the anterior cingulate cortex. This allows us to pause for a minute. And when we pause, we still have the thing that happens, our thought, how we feel about it, and then it gets categorized as an emotion. And right here, where this thought and feeling happen before we react, there's a pause button called the ACC. When we pause and we think about it, the ACC engages our prefrontal cortex. Yep. And it also engages our hippocampus, which is our memory bank of all of the things that have happened to us in the past, everything that we know. And now the logical mind can look at the hippocampus and say, okay, this thing that happened, does that fit the narrative? Is that the truth or is that a lie? And that's where action comes in, because now we can look at this thing logically and rationally. We can create a new thought, which gives us a different emotion or a different feeling, a different emotion, and a different outcome, action.
I'm so sorry, Arian. Your theory is spot on, and it's literally the foundation of cognitive behavior therapy.
So what I've done with this is I've so that's what I've been writing out. This whole thing. And what I've done now is color coded it into a color wheel.
Oh, nice.
Like you have for, color schools. I got into painting.
Yes.
And so I'm into painting, blending colors. Yes. Blending colors and then emotions. And so I saw this concept really come together about these different emotions on the color. Anyway.
Yeah. And the idea, right, is for every situation or event that happens that you're talking about, triggers an automatic thought.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day.
Yes.
So how many of those are subconscious and automatic? 90%. Okay. 87% of those thoughts come from our hippocampus.
Yes.
Our past experiences. Because we're double negative here. Okay. That leads us to the emotion or feeling. And then physiologically, we feel it in our body. And that turns into a behavior, which is an action or an inaction, which is a reaction.
Yes.
We react somehow. We either pull back, freeze, and isolate, or react impulsively, right? And that's what cognitive behavior, and that's why it's my bread and butter. That's why I believe in it, because it supports scripture, and it's what helped retrain and rewire my brain from a foundational standpoint, not just kumbaya. Oh, I just want to sit. Like, I had to put in a lot of effort, and it takes work. And I as professional as a counselor can lose it on a client, I've been doing that lately because I'm in this new state of we're not going to keep idolizing this word mental health. Oh, it's mental health. Yes, mental health. Take care. Health. Have a healthy mental. Yes, absolutely. And everything is not to be blamed on your anxiety or depression. You cannot blame why you can't get ready in the morning on your anxiety and depression. You cannot blame why you can't drive on your anxiety. You cannot blame your mental health on being dismayed.
I'm going to challenge you on it. I think you can blame it on that. And then you stay stuck in that rut. No, listen to me. Hear me out.
Yes.
You can do that. But
Yes.
You just said it earlier, the rut. Yes. Our brain has neural pathways. So when you blame it on that, you can stay there. And you're going to stay in the victim mentality. You're never going to be able to get out of it. And you're just going to blame everybody and everything else for where you're at. You can absolutely stay there. But you're not going anywhere. You're just spinning your tires. Yeah. You're going to wire your sex. Yes. Yeah. You're digging it deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah. And it's going to be a lot harder to get out of that rut the deeper you dig.
When you create new neural pathways, and that's what I was talking about. You mentioned it with the ruts. I talked about that a few weeks ago, getting stuck in the rut. Mm-hmm. And how do you get out? You have to build a new pathway. This is what I'm talking about, is that automatic thought, feeling, categorized as an emotion, and then you react. Well, we can pause and create a new pathway, a new outcome that's more beneficial to our life and to our survival. Because the more extreme you get, the less people like you. You may think that you are fighting all this injustice and it's you against the world. And you're kind of right, because people get burned out on your rhetoric. They get burned out on being around you and you're fighting every battle all the time. I had a good friend, not a good friend anymore. I had a good friend that I met years ago, business owner, fantastic. And the more I watched her, the more unhinged I saw her become. And the more she took on this idea of, I have to fight every injustice in the world. People stopped going to her. That's the way she was presenting herself online. People stopped going to her business. People stopped visiting her store. People stopped buying her services.
Yeah.
And all that did was reinforce, see, I'm fighting injustice. And so now they're coming after me. No. People are just burned out on you.
And that's a lack of self-awareness.
Exactly. And so I've watched this person just deteriorate over time. And I even tried to reach out and say, hey, that's probably not what you want to do. Because I watch you fight every single battle that comes up and you burn people out.
Yeah.
Because you're not just sticking to one thing. You stuck to one thing and you fight against that, like everybody be like, cool. But you have to fight every single thing that comes your way. You're getting burned out and you're burning out your friends, your family, and your clients.
It's like that person in your life that always has a new pyramid scheme to warp you into. Hey, here's all this fun. No.
Yes, we do.
No.
Yes, we do.
Do we?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm talking about me. I did a couple pyramid schemes and I was on. I was like, everybody. And people were like, oh my gosh, Jessica, shut up.
Right. But that's what I'm talking about. That burns people out. And it burns you out.
Yeah.
And then so I reached out and this person lashed out at me.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just like, cool. I just distanced myself. I was like, cool. I'm just trying to help you. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm telling you the way you're going about it is not healthy. Yeah. Well, now this person's in my dire straits. And they reach out to me, hey, can you help me? It's like, no, I cannot. I could have helped you 6 months ago. But now you're in a position that I literally cannot help you.
Yeah. You're unwilling.
Right. Here's somebody who could help you. Okay. Because they do homeless outreach. They can help you. I cannot help you where you're at because you're too far past what I have capability. Yeah. But that's what I'm talking about. And we watch people become unhinged and end up that way. Yeah. We just watched this happen on the news. Yeah. It's huge right now. Yeah. The lady who got shot by the ICE agents. Everybody talks about, who she was years ago and, how great she was and all these things. She's a poet, she's a mom, all these great things. Those are awesome things about her. But what happened in the last 6 months of her life that would lead her to harassing federal agents? And then, I don't care where you fall on the issue, trying to run him over or trying to escape, either one of those is bad. And now she lost her. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. She was in an emotional, hyped up state because her and her partner were harassing these agents. So now they feel like they're in this. And I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I'm just trying to tell you what's happening in her brain. Okay. Because I know these things. I study these things. And so if you want to argue with me about it, you can, but you better come with some facts on neuroscience. Because here's what happens. She's in that space. She's harassing these agents. She feels like she's this heroine now, who's saving people that she doesn't know, and there's nobody there to save, but she thinks that she is. So now her amygdala is firing off. She's in fight or flight. She has reduced cognitive function. Now she's full of cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol reduces her ability to see what's going on because it gives her tunnel vision.
Yep.
And the amygdala is adrenaline dumping into her brain. So she's super jacked up, hyped up, low cognitive function. Now she feels trapped because his agents are closing in. Now she feels even more afraid. Even more adrenaline and cortisol is pumping into her veins. And she takes off. Gunfight ensues. She loses her life. Yeah. She didn't go there with that intention.
For sure.
She didn't go there to think that she's going to get into be a martyr or even get into a physical confrontation with officers. That was not her forethought going in at all. But because she bought into the rhetoric, believed that she was trying to help people by interfering with these federal agents, it led her to believe these things that weren't actually true.
Yeah.
She had reduced cognitive functioning during that time. And that's the result that happened. That's what I'm talking about. When you don't take control of your mental health journey, when you don't pause, you don't learn to pause and let your ACC kick in and start to have cognitive thought, you start to make decisions that will have lasting impact on your life, and they're not good. She was very reactive. not taking action, but reactive in that emotional state. It's exactly what happened. And if you want to argue with me about it, you better look up some neuroscience. And you'll realize very quickly everything I'm saying is absolutely true. That's what happens inside of the brain-body connection. Even people like you and me who have trained and trained and trained our bodies to be able to fight that adrenaline and cortisol because we've been in combat and we've had millions of dollars worth of training, it's still very difficult to do that in the moment.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult. And it's impossible for people with no training to do it. It's impossible. So I know exactly what happened inside of her brain-body connection. And it led to these negative outcomes. That's the point I tried.
And then we double down, right, with the media pouring narratives and things and leading with false information or distorted information, and people get emotional, which they like. I understand. Like a mom lost her life. It is tragic. I understand emotions getting involved and wanting answers and wanting to get to the bottom of things. Absolutely. And I also understand that the media is repeatedly proven to be untrustworthy with initial videos and information, that you literally have a major cognitive dissonance going on in your brain if you think you can come up with a secure, valid opinion within 48 hours of the incident happening. You showed me a video months ago, and you kept saying, "What do you think? What is your initial reaction?" And I don't know yet. She's claiming she was assaulted or whatever by the door down, whatever.
Yeah.
I cannot form until I have more information, because I've trained my brain to not form an opinion until I have more of an idea. But the biggest problem is people aren't learning to do that, and they're jumping on this emotional bandwagon and saying, "I'm going to be a hero and I'm going to stand for justice and I'm going to," and then
Take on the world.
you put yourself and your opinion out there, and then just 24 hours later, a new body cam video comes out to completely disprove, 100% disprove, not opinion, factual, with like factual disproving of that narrative. And what happens is the intolerance of shame. It's shame. It feels shame that I was wrong. I feel shame that I jumped on it. So instead of just saying you were wrong, it feels scarier to say you're wrong than just being wrong. And so you dig your heels in and you go harder. And you go harder. And you go harder to support your wrong narrative that you helped push because of pride.
I think, yes, because you said it right there, because of pride. We don't want to be wrong. Because somehow we figure if we're wrong about this one thing, then it means you're wrong about everything else. And so I see I've seen this happen on social media. Is the worst. Because this story has become so polarized, such an issue, that you watch people do that. They dig in, even though the second video came out, and now they're trying to push in there like, well, see, that just proves that we were right. It's like, no, are we watching the same thing? Like you see what's happening here. But you're right. They're so far down that in that position, they're so entrenched that they can't backtrack now. They're too embarrassed. And so they won't. And so here's the thing.
Can.
No. I don't know if they can. Like mentally, I don't know if they have the mental fortitude to be able to do that. I really don't. Because if they haven't trained themselves, they're in that rut, Jess. They can't.
You don't have to train yourself to be okay with saying I'm wrong. You don't have to.
I don't know. I think you do. I think humility is something that we're not born with. It's something that we have to practice. And the part of that, admitting you're wrong, is humility. So I think that people
you still come to a place where you have to make a choice. You do have to make a cognitive choice to dig in, because I don't want to admit I'm wrong, or to surrender and say, you know what? Gosh, I spoke too soon. I saw a couple of people say, you know what? I spoke too soon.
And so I wonder how many, and we'll never know this, right? Because nobody's going to admit it. But how many people recognize they're wrong and just won't say anything? And how many literally don't recognize?
I mean, look at COVID.
Yeah.
Look at the vaccine. Like, Nobody is saying they were wrong.
Yeah.
And all there is proof that they were all wrong. Okay, here we go. Yes.
What social media does is it polarizes it, and then it sensationalizes it.
And then it helps to magnify and really dig in that rut of your negative bias.
And here's what I see people doing, and I'm guilty of this, and I try not to do it. But somebody I don't even know, I'll see a post, don't even know this person, they'll say something crazy, and I'll have to go on and make a comment. And I've really tried hard not to do that.
I know, I get in so much trouble.
But I do it. Those people don't know me. They don't care anything about me. Why would they care about my opinion? I've added no value to their life. All I've done is go in and attack their position on something. So not only have I not added value, now I've attacked them. I'm never going to get them to see the truth. If I want people to see the truth, doing that is not going to be able to do it. What you can do is you can talk to your friends in person. People in your sphere of influence, have a real conversation with them, either through text message, phone call, or in person. Mm-hmm. But if you prove them wrong on their Facebook post, now you've embarrassed them.
Yeah.
Now you damage that friendship, and you're not able to actually help them see the reality of it. And this is what I've noticed in my own life. So if I want to change somebody's opinion, I can't flame them on Facebook. It's just not going to work. Even though I'm right.
Yeah.
I've got the evidence. Got a good friend. I won't name who he is, but you know, he is a big, tall, white guy. And he absolutely loves watching me argue with people on Facebook because I'm not emotion. I'm fact-based. And I just destroy people with facts. And that's great. I get proven right. But I may win the battle, but I lose the war because I will never be able to share anything of value with that person. I will never be able to teach them about mental health. I'll never be able to share the gospel because I've damaged that relationship by embarrassing them publicly. So I have to do a better job of not doing that. Are you talking to them in person and trying to show them the error of their way, show them the facts? Because now I've built value in their life, and maybe I can share other things of value later. Yeah. And this is something I'm working on. I'm not great at this.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to like the heart condition of trying to embarrass somebody. Like, no, you're never gonna. But I'm still in the camp where if you're gonna post a stupid question or a stupid comment, and I come underneath it with love and care and concern and explanation, I'm going to still do that. Because there have been times that people, even in a rude way, have said, hey, you're wrong, and this is why. And hey, thanks for pointing that out.
We're very reflective.
Yes. But another reason why it's so hard is because the few times I have said, you know what, you're right. I was wrong. I'm not going to delete my comment because it shows that I'm trying to hide something. I'm just going to back it up and say, thank you. You helped me change my mind. And people annihilated me for that, for admitting I was wrong. And that's another part of this that we compound this problem is we don't make allowances for each other's faults.
Yeah.
We double down when they're wrong. See, I told you, or make them feel even worse when if we created a culture that's like, hey, I'm so proud of you. That took a lot of guts to say that. Thank you for being a good example.
Yeah.
How much more encouraged would I be to admit when I'm wrong if I get that response versus, you're a POS, you shouldn't be a counselor, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yes, I tell people, I say, I want to be the good example. I want to be the cautionary tale.
That's good.
But I'm trying to get better at that.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm trying to get better at it because at the end of the day, I really just want to help people improve their mental results. And so when you talk about mental health, you're right. That word is so tainted. So I tell people, like, let me help you on your mental health journey. Mm-hmm. And I said, let me help you build mental. What do? I help people build mental resilience. Well, what is resilience? Well, let me tell you. Because say mental health, people just check out.
Yeah.
Just check out. But resilience, what's that? So, you know, man, you want to get stronger, you go to the gym. What do? Do you lift weights? Yeah. And then to get even stronger, you lift heavier and heavier and heavier weights for longer and longer and longer periods of time. And then you get buff. Yeah. That's what I do with your brain. Yeah. I help you build these different neural connections. It's the exact same thing. It's your training routine. You got to learn how to do it, why to do it, how to do it, and then you do it. And in the beginning, you need somebody, a trainer, to teach you. But then once you learn, You don't need the trainer anymore. You can do it on your own. And then you can show somebody else how to work out. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a trainer. You just got to know a little bit more than the other guy. That's why I do these classes. That's why I do these free mental health classes every single week, because I want to be able to teach people about these concepts. And then we educate them on the concept. And then what do? I empower them with some tools that they can use, the 5 tools.
That's awesome.
And then I encourage them to go and share it with their friends and family. And if you're not comfortable, it's fine. Invite them to the group. Anybody can join. Everybody can join. 6 o'clock, Thursday nights, 20 minutes I teach, and I stay on for another 10 minutes after, so that way people have questions. But it's 20 minutes. That's all that it is. I know it's the same like Billy does his group.
Okay.
We've already talked about it.
Okay, fine. Just so you know.
But mine's for a year, his is for like 6 weeks.
It's going to be 16 times 2. 32 weeks.
32 weeks?
Oh, it's 32. Yeah.
Okay.
16 topics. 1 week they learn about it. The next week they have discussions on it.
This is great because, Billy will get people into that one. I'll get them into this one. So they have options.
And then they'll swap.
Yeah. In 6 months, they can swap. It's perfect.
Hey, you guys, it would really help us to like and subscribe to our videos, share our shorts. Nobody wants to sit their first time and watch us banter back and forth about our triggers. But
yeah, share your shorts, you guys. Those are
and then they can go in and pick and choose what topics they want to watch.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Because on the Mental Health Janitors, we like to do 3 things. We like to educate, empower, and encourage you on your mental health journey. So for the Mental Health Janitors, I'm Sergeant Q.
I'm Doc Jess.
And we're out.